Greetings, my fellow demon lords, ladies, beasts. Oh no, you assorted people. Welcome to my first ever Spectrobes challenge. This is not the first challenge I attempted. I was originally going to do one and Beyond the Portals, but 2020 happened. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this challenge, basically. What this challenge is going to basically boil down to is, can I beat Spectrobes DS without using Spectrobes? That sounds a little convoluted, but, hear me out. We only do 1 damage. Okay. Well, you guys, Rallen quite literally beats his fist against these, crawl for the next minute or so. Let me explain to you the rules of this challenge, and it was like I was saying earlier, we're gonna attempt to beat the game without using any Spectrobes in combat. Basically seeing if Rallen can save Nanairo by himself, essentially. So there are really only 2 rules for this challenge. 1, any damage I do in combat must come from Rallen. And I'm not allowed to use any Spectrobes in battle. I mean, those rules are kind of the same, but either way. I was gonna in Beyond the Portals, using kind of a monotype run, but Rallen can't attack the crawl in Beyond the Portals. This one might be possible in Spectrobes Origins, but I have no idea. And I don't have access to a Wii, so I can't attempt it. So you guys were just gonna have to bear with me for, basically, this challenge. We're not an addendum to Rule 2 will come into play a little bit, well, it's gonna come in much further down in the run, but regardless, I hope you guys will be able to bear with me for it. Like I said, there's one exception that we're gonna have to make right off the bat. But, we'll get to that when we get there. This is not my first narration, but, yeah. So, Rallen has a nice little conversation with Aldous here. And, who explains the entire plot of the game. I love that he just blatantly lies and said the Spectrobes did it. So I hope you guys can forgive having to see the mouse on screen, because unfortunately that's what we kind of have to deal with. We need to kind of put up with this excavation little detour here, because we kind of have to progress the plot, essentially. Yeah, for those wondering, the majority of the fights I will be kind of running from, essentially, because Rallen doesn't gain any experience in combat. So there was just no point in fighting every black vortex I come across. So for the most part, I'm going to be skipping through most of the fights, essentially. I love how Gina's the one who forgot to check in. And now we're off to planet Colin. Colin? I don't know. I never did figure out a good pronunciation for a lot of these places. And now we gotta explain the plot, essentially, who, seems a bit skeptical, you know. A little hesitant. So we get two new weapons here, a blaster and a sword. And I'll give you one hint of which one's more effective. So the blaster does 5 damage. And the sword does 1. Yeah, spoiler warning, the sword is not gonna be useful. Right, now we need to say Professor Wright from the Black Vortexes. This is gonna be yet another long, drawn-out fight, because the maximum damage I can do is 5. Which, don't get me wrong, that's still better than 1. It's quite literally 5 times as much. But the damage ain't gonna be anything amazing for a good while down in the playthrough. But while this is happening, this was not my first narration attempt of this challenge. I had originally written out like an entire script, essentially, and I was gonna like splice up the narration audio and try and sync it up with the footage and all that. But unfortunately, I just couldn't do it. Call me an idiot if you want to, but there was no way I could get the audio to sync up with the footage, or the footage to slow down enough to match what I was saying, essentially. So you guys are just getting this as it happens voiceover, essentially. And I hope you guys can forgive me for that. You gotta know, I legitimately tried to write up a script and narration for you. But it just was not possible based on my own skill set. Yay, a way of fossil that I'm never gonna use. Oh, off to Nessa. To meet Cyrus. Basically just wants us to run errands for him. Because why wouldn't he? It's not like the fate of the galaxy is at stake or something. Also a keystone. A keystone for a cube? Sounds like the best deal in the world. I'm sure this blue keystone won't be of any significance whatsoever. But, you know, a deal's a deal. 1 cube later. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. Yep, now the Crow have attacked the NPP. I mean, I imagine it's the whole planet, not just, like, the police. But at least we can get some upgraded weaponry. Yeah, I agonized over these decisions for a long time. Ultimately, it was kind of pointless, and you'll see why just here in a minute. Yep, there's currently no damage increase. If you're wondering how I got so much go up there to buy these new blasters, which now do 10 damage, I basically cheated. I basically modded in a bunch of gold minerals so I could sell them, basically just to get the money. Alright, time for our first proper boss fight. And it's actually a lot simpler than it would first initially appear. This boss's whole essentially gimmick is, as you guys can see, he will charge us, which does a lot of damage, but that's all he'll do. Like, he'll charge us, back off, rinse and repeat. The only real, I mean, like I said, this boss does do a lot of damage, but the only real danger are the minions, and the energy ball attacks. So as far as first boss fights go, this one ain't too terrible. A little monotonous if you can get the right, essentially, spot that you can potentially hit both of its, minions. Because the boss itself ain't too bad, because again, he has this charge, but as you guys can see right there, hitting him kind of knocks him out of the charging animation. Or attack, I guess. So, really, this was a fairly easy fight. Not super difficult. And I got on my first attempt. And now we get to go to a brief museum visit. Huh. There's another one of these keystones. I'm sure that doesn't have any plot significance whatsoever. Must be a fake. I never realized that he also mentions the ancient starship. Well, we appear to be experiencing some turbulence. Alright, Professor Kate, what do you gotta say? Shadow on the two moons? Well, we're gonna have to investigate that. Damage unit. And let's see, we don't seem to appear to find anything on moon number 1. I think this is Akaboshi. I wouldn't be surprised. There's one on the second. This fight was more annoying than anything else. Because as you can see, the boss and his two minions, which apparently is going to be a theme, they love basically circling around you and dive bombing you, essentially. Which, you know, just a tiny bit annoying. Also, the boss likes the Beyblade. I'm sure that, well, it's not too bad once you can, well, deal with him, essentially. Because this boss does hit pretty hard, but, he's not terrible to predict, essentially. It's more like we're playing a game of cat and mouse, or in this case, human crawl. I guess, well, yeah, I guess it is kind of like a Beyblade now I think about it. I was about to say it's also kind of like a dreidel. But that's basically a Beyblade too, essentially. I don't watch Beyblade, so if I butchered that reference, I'm sorry. Alright, that's one of the minions dealt with. And I went a little glitch there. Especially my screen messing up. And that's the second minion. What's that dealt with? We gotta let you know that we did not find the crow nest. That's ominous. Yeah, that seems like a pretty good indicator to me. I'm gonna tell you, plant cloaked in shadow. So gotta be the right course. Yep, technology hasn't progressed that far. Oh, don't worry, Rallen. Deus Ex Machina is on the way. There she is. Is the plan just crazy enough to work? Let's find out. Alright, what's your idea, Kate? Really? The ruins of an ancient starship. Huh. Well, that sure is convenient. Well, shame we don't have any of the keystones. I guess those were important after all. Oh. Well, we got one. I guess we can go get the one from, Professor Kate. Well, the museum, I mean. He's not gonna be happy at all. But fortunately, I just skipped that. I think it took him this long to realize that. The fate of the galaxy is at stake, but you still want some mineral. I mean, I get a diamond, but still. Time for the third boss fight. And this one is going to get a little annoying. And there's me popping my heal immediately. Like an idiot. So as you guys can see, we now do 20 in damage. Which is great. But unfortunately, it's not going to get much better. And down we go. So this one kind of buzzsaws around, basically. before going back to its original starting location. And basically shooting like a tentacle at you. This fight actually took me, as you guys can see, a fair few tries. Just because I could not... I just couldn't figure out the pattern, essentially. Because once you realize what this boss's patterns are, they're not too terrible to deal with. I was just being bad at the game. Although in fairness, it was my first time playing the game in, I won't say a couple years. Anyway, 1 diamond for a keystone. Not like the fate of the world is at stake or anything. Oh, sorry, the galaxy, not just the world. I love they just pulled a Kool-Aid man. Just burst through the wall. Now this fight, this was the most difficult fight of the entire run. And for a good reason. As you guys can see, the most damage I can do is 20. This boss has 2 minions. Each heal the boss. Yes, they both heal. For 50. I can quite literally not take out this boss while the healers are still alive. Because they will quite literally outpace my damage. That itself would be annoying if I could take out the healers. Well, then probably be a lot easier. Unfortunately for me, the healers can heal themselves and each other. Yeah, if just one of them could heal themselves, I could probably focus fire and, you know, take them down one at a time while dodging the boss. That's not really an option here. I can quite literally not do enough damage to defeat this boss. During these attempts, I figured out I could put Spectrobes in a support role to increase Rallen's speed, attack, defense, and combo attack gauge, which doesn't help. Even getting Spectrobes down increase Rallen's damage didn't help. The maximum damage you could get is 2. Yeah. We go from 22 or 20 damage to 22. And that's still not enough to overcome this boss fight. I tried. Like this boss fight I was stuck on for days. And I mean literal days of attempts. But nothing I did, no combination I could think of, was enough to overcome this boss. So, to answer the question of the video, can Rallen beat Spectrobes without using Spectrobes? Or can he save Nanairo by himself? The answer is no. Because of this boss fight. So what I ended up doing is, like I said, if you guys remember Rule 2, is I basically grind up the Spectrobe one of the Spectrobes we start with, and grinding them up to a high enough level to basically take out the healers. And that's basically it. This was the one exception I allowed for myself, because there was just no other way for me to beat this boss. Without using, like, cheats or something to give myself the highest weapons in the game, which I didn't want to do that because, again, that just let me have this, basically. This was the only time I had to use a Spectrobe in battle. And considering how far we are into the run, I consider that pretty impressive, honestly. And as you guys can see, without the healers, this fight's basically a joke. So hopefully you guys can forgive the slight bending of the rules. The one's technically failed, but better a failed run than no one at all. Yeah. Here goes the best cutscene in the entire game. Just so majestic looking. Whoosh. Oh, tomato. Oh. Wow. Oh, okay. A brief detour. Someone made an entire planet. That's insane to think about. Yeah, like those ancient people, they fought ahead. That's insane. They made an entire planet just to act as a magnifier. That's crazy. Oh, he put a hole in the shield. And this is the first instance of the alternate form Spectrobes, the Geos. If you guys haven't seen my Geo animation video, go watch it. One brief detour later, we got the Geo. And this is one of the few times it's actually going to be used, because this boss has a shield that we have to break, essentially, with the Geo. Which does not do damage to the boss, so ironically, this is the one time, that we don't technically break the rules. Well, yeah. Because, the Geo is actually... it's necessary to beat the game, essentially. Unfortunately, this boss's two minions don't heal him. Even though at this point we are rocking the highest damage possible, essentially. And he is pretty big and slow, so... This ain't a too terribly difficult fight, even though I'm getting smacked around like a pinata out here. Yeah, not the most difficult boss fight, ironically. Yeah. And without his, minions, we can just basically pepper him with blasters. Funny enough, this entire run, only the blaster has been useful. Like, I'm not even kidding, the glove and swords have done nothing. Now we get to the second stage, where we have to fight the, I think, Zealous plant. And, the strategy for this one, super simple. We just have to attack the plant. Because if we attack the minions, which are very weak for some reason, as you guys just saw, it'll respawn them immediately. I don't know if this part of the boss gauntlet can heal itself. I don't think so. But if it did, I basically was able to outpace the damage, essentially. And this is, this final part is kind of the easiest of all of them. Essentially for this, I have to break a shield multiple times, naturally. With the flame geo, so that's the easy part. But ironically, this boss, can also heal itself. As you guys will see here in just a second. Yeah, right there. And as you guys can see, he's healing himself at a rapid rate. Like 30... rapidly. This boss fight is actually the one and only time the glove has been useful. Because this strategy is basically hit him with the glove, disrupt his healing. Then when he bounces back, shoot him with the blaster, rinse and repeat. And because we're doing 34 damage to his 30... we are slowly but surely wearing this boss down. So, ironically, the final boss was the easiest to deal with. But with that, guys, the challenge is over. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining me for this, new thing, because I don't really do challenge videos all that often. I don't think I'm going to be doing another one of these type of videos, because, my original narration for this, like, I tried writing up a script, tried syncing audio and all that stuff to it, and it was a pain in the ass to do, and I could not be, I just couldn't bring myself to do it, essentially. And I'm sorry for that, you guys. I know it's nothing spectacular. Next time I do one of these videos, maybe I'll stream it. That would be something to do. And then I'd basically be able to just riff, basically, while I play. So, again, you guys, hope you enjoyed the journey. We technically failed the run, but I feel like you guys would have enjoyed the journey regardless. So, again, thank you for joining me on this journey. And for being a part of my channel. This video was actually, to commemorate reaching 150 subscribers. Which is just insane to think about, honestly. It seems like 10, 20 years ago I only had like 30 subscribers. And now I have 150. That's huge. And I have all you guys to really thank for that. Because without you guys' support, I wouldn't be here. So, once again, thank you so much for watching, for being a part of this challenge. If you haven't already, subscribe, you know, maybe we can reach 200 by the end of the year. That'd be amazing. Don't have anything particularly planned for that. But, you know what, if you got a suggestion, leave it in the comments. And, again, I apologize for just the pretty lackluster challenge, but either way, I hope it was at least slightly entertaining to watch.